If everyone's ready to get started, I'm going to be instructing some small things that you can do with Tinkercad. It's a free website that basically allows you to make 3D models, shapes, and actual 3D models that you can then send to us and print. We can print out. So I'll get started and I'll start sharing my screen. And if you have any questions, I'll answer them by the end when I've gone through most of this. But for the most part, Tinkercad's pretty simple. It works mostly in simple shapes. Like here we have a square right now. And you can do simple things with it. If you need to move around like this, the camera, you would be holding right click, and then you can move the camera how you want to see around the object. Simple as. And to move the actual object, you want to use left click and hold on the object. Change that. You can also change the dimensions of the object that you want simply by pulling these black squares around, making it smaller, bigger. This is kind of more of a way you can eyeball it. If you want to actually change these a little more precisely, you can. It's not showing up here, but there will be these boxes that will show up. You can change these to the exact numbers that you want. Say you want it in 20. What are we actually working in? Hang on, I didn't check that. So in the moment, I think how I have it set up is in millimeters. You can set that up differently. Hang on, sorry, someone else is connecting. Give me 1 second. Oh, wait. All right, we're just waiting for people. Sorry about the wait. Okay, I think we have everyone connected at the moment. Can on the raised hand emote in the bottom, just so I know you all can hear me. Hi, Raya. So I just want to see if everyone can hear me at the moment. Can just type in chat. Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna show up. Okay, there we go. Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna just start it. Can everyone see my screen as well? Just let me see in. Okay. So, yes, but it's small. That might be on your end. What do you mean by small, buddy? Or Mr. Wright?
Buddy is fine. It's up in the corner. It's just a small tile.
You might be able to make it bigger on your end or your viewing.
Got it.
Okay, great. Is anyone being small? No. So I'll get started. So Tinkercad is a fine. You can to use it. Recommend people to use it here at the when they want to on a 3D print that they found, just to make something of their own, even like you can make a house, small things. I'm going to just show you some little tricks that you can do with it. It's very simple. So start it, open. And if you have any questions, just shoot me a message in chat. I'll try and answer it. But here we have the actual workspace for Tinkercad. Here, so the simple thing to do is just click on an object that you want to bring out. Typically, it has preset shape. And we'll be using a cube. So click that now that we have it selected. And we can do this with pretty much any shapes, just we have it selected. We'll see it right here. We can click it and we can also change it a little bit with how many polygons it has when we bring it in. So right here, you can use the slider if you want it to have way more complexity to it, having more faces basically, or having it very low poly. But there's also the selection of whole you'll see here. We'll get to that a little later. Right now, we're just gonna focus on the shapes. In order to change the camera around, you can right click and move and twirl it around a little bit. Try going a little slow, as it can go fast if you move it like this. But if you want to snap to a certain view, you can click on this cube in here in the left and get a right side view, an angled view, or even a corner view if you highlight the certain parts of this cube. It'll always direct you. But if you want to actually edit a shape, like even more than how we have it now, you can click on these squares that it has to make it even longer, wider, taller. And you can also click on these boxes to give it a more precise measurement. Say you want it like 3.666, and you can get, it'll round up to the next one, but you'll get, and again, you can use the sliders again to make it even more bigger, wider, whatever you want, as well as. But if you want to do it more of as a scale size, you would grab the corner and then you can shrink it, change the width and height, length actually. So that way it's a square. If you hold shift, you can change it so that it's still scaling as you're dragging it around by that corner. We have a question. Are the measurements in metric or English? I believe we have it set in millimeters, but I know you can change that if you, depending on how you do it. Yeah, we have it here set as millimeters. We can change that though in the settings if you want to do inches or just bricks. Bricks is just like simple unit measurements. But if we want inches, we can change that. You can make it default, you can make it, this is where you would just change settings in general. If you want the zoom speed, the camera to be slower than that or faster, I tend to like to work faster just because I'm used to it. And you just make this the default. See, now we have inches as default if we want to use that in the future. And we can also, like I said before, we can you show where you found that again? Yep. So we have it in the right by the shapes. It's down here. You'll just click on it and adjust any settings that you want. All right, great. Glad you got it, buddy. So the other thing, if you want to actually make like something that makes more sense than just shapes, we can do a little bit more, like making something simple, like a house, but we want it to be a little higher. If we want it to be above, we would just grab this arrow and move it up in the air. Now, when you do print this, this is going to be a little different than when you print it out. I'll get to that in a second. And you can also change the angle that you have it at with more of these parts on it. You would just click that. And you can just drag it around, move it around, stuff like that. Holding shift will get it to stay at a certain 90-degree angle, like so. So it's a little bit more exact in its measurements, but you can also change it again by inputting it into the box. If we just want it to be 90 degrees, it'll be like that. We can get it down. And I'm gonna get it on this. You click on the arrows, you would Z as your, who's typed in. Right now, I'm trying to get it on top. Any other questions so far? Am I going too fast for everyone? Hang a little bit. Yeah, a bit. Again, you can just stop me, ask any questions. A lot of this is more intuitive. So, is anyone following me at the moment? Object, you'll look at that. You'll right above it. This is the arrow that you bring, that you can, it'll be like a, are you still figure it out? Okay. So we got a little house on a door. So I want to make a hole. So we would grab the whole object here. That's just what this means. And the idea of the hole is just basically it'll subtract from the shape. It'll make it so that we can, when we 3D print it out, that part will be hollow. So like right here, anything, nothing will be there. So no, nothing. This is a subtract from objects as well, so that way we don't have certain parts showing up on the actual object. You can actually make anything into a whole object. Like say you don't want it to be a square, maybe you want it to be, I don't know, a cone instead. You put it out here and then you would select the whole option here. And that would turn the whole thing into square. Just put that in there. And that part here will not print out or be part of the shape. The other thing you can do as well is do text in. You can do this, and to get the actual text that we want, we would just type in the text. So say I want my name, Alex. And we can, same thing, we can kind of scale it down as well. We can change the beveling of it if we want it to be a bit smoother or bigger in the shapes. So change the font. There's only like 4 different options here. Let's go with sans. We don't want. Scale it down a little bit. And I want to get it up here so that way it's part of the house. Yep. And just bring it out more. So we got it. And we can also do just a, that's not what okay, so this, the one I selected, I'm going to go back for a second because I didn't mean to do that. But so this part right here is the scribble object. This you can actually is where it allows you to draw in, where you can actually draw little objects in it. So we got it right here. We got our pen. We can make a circle, get a little smiley face, and it'll show up in the as an object. We can make it. We can do a little more with it, like if we don't want all that. We can draw a shape. This. And then we can erase in it with the shape tool as well. We're just doing even just erasing with the actual pen tool. Like so. Okay. Okay, so we'll keep going. So now that we're done with, got this, so we'll use this. And we'll just make it a bit smaller though. I made it a little too big. Change the scale of it, but I want it to be a little more smaller here than on the other side. I'm gonna zoom out using this tool. And again, to move around, you can use this tools here. This will get you back to your home view. This will move in on the object that you're currently highlighted on. So the scribble tool we have here, but I want to go back just so I can see everything. This degree. So we got it on there, a little bit more design. And when you do, is there anything else? Again, there's just other shapes that you can edit around with. So like a ring, you can change the diameter of it or the shape of it here. If you want to change how the diameter of it works, how it comes out here. Honestly, the program is pretty easy to understand. Honestly, the best way to learn from it is just playing around with it, is what I understand, is what I like to do with it. But you can also, so if we want to, and for the most part, is there anything else? I guess that's pretty much it. I'll open the floor up for questions if anyone has any more. If not, I can talk more about how you would export this sort of stuff and the actual object that you finished making and how you can upload it to the ELO site. But I'm pretty sure most of you have at one point or another possibly sent a 3D print submission. Yeah, we got one. How did you move this shape to the main screen? What do you mean? Like, how did I get the camera to the shape? How do you move it? Oh, to the main screen. You would just, oh no, I understand what you mean. So you would just click on whatever shape that you want over on the side here. And like say you want this star, you would just click on it once, and then you would move over to the main screen and where you want it to be placed. Any other questions? When you went to squiggle and made a shape, I didn't see how you got it to the house. That I just moved over to the house. I used the arrow over it. So if you wanted, so it would just, the arrow only ever, the far right side, you mean the left? The button's over here. This is just the home view. This will back that you can see the whole workspace that you have. This one will full view on the selected shape. This is just the zoom in and the zoom out feature. This is just the switching the view, but you're primarily going to work in this view. Can you group the shapes together and alter the size? Typically, you can't really group shapes in this program. Like, you can only select both of them. You can lock them together at that point to have them as one shape, but you can't edit them once they are locked. Or actually, hang on, wait a minute. No, I don't think you can group objects either. But when you do export it, it will export it as one object entirely. So if you're asking about that. Could you unmute and you're free to unmute and ask me questions if you want. Hello?
Yes, I'm seeing some shapes on the far right side. Maybe that's not related to this program, like a magnifying glass. It looks like kind of a purple plus sign.
Oh, I see. You're the shapes. That I haven't quite explored much.
Okay,
Let's see. So these are just shapes that that are just available to Tinkercad. You're very free to use those as well. They just come with, again, it's just different is all. So the certain ones, like, I don't actually know what is available on here. Like, you can certainly make your own shapes with this program now. But I'm not terribly familiar with the community shapes that it has.
okay. Do you know what the falling apple is next to the, what looks like a pickaxe?
Yeah, I see it. This is so SimLab that would simulate. That's a little different. This
Okay,
is
that's
like it's as if you were simulating it all. Like
right.
here,
Okay,
real quick.
okay.
This is okay. Well, let's take. Oh, whoops. Yeah, that's a little different than what what this class is exploring. At the moment, we're just exploring the 3D modeling. In the future, maybe you can explore the sim or explore it on your own.
Sure.
I know it the sim lab is basically just like we saw that is just like a domino effect. Like, so right here, this is the sim lab. It shows like how you can kind of cause a chain reaction with these and stimulate how things would fall.
Okay.
But we're just doing the 3D modeling aspect of it. And any other questions? Just about the program or the shapes?
There was a little like clipboard on that screen we were on. Up in the left, I'm not sure what that is.
The clipboard, whoops. This one right here, you mean?
It's, yes,
So that one is unavailable.
okay, maybe it's for something else.
It's usually for something else. It's,
Okay.
oh no, I see what it is. Okay, it's the paste. So you could actually, if you wanted to make the
Oh,
same object, you can copy and paste it. So you can copy
Got it.
this one. You would just control C on it, and then you would control V. And
okay,
just make multiple of those, but we don't. So, and that would just be the paste. That's what you have in your clipboard at the moment. You have this shape or whatever shape that you've copied.
okay.
Thank you for catching that. I would have forgotten about it. And in order to actually, so we can actually also bring in stuff from other program, well, stuff that other 3D objects as well. This is a good one. Actually, we can go into Thingiverse. We're just gonna grab, let's grab a car. Why can't it give me something simple? Yeah, sure. Oh, it's gonna. Okay, I don't have the login at the moment, but in order to import, you can bring in, you would just basically save like other objects that you find, like stuff here that you can save on your computer, and hang on, and then you can import it in from your computer. So if we had like, so we can import it as either, it supports STLs, OBJs, or even SVG files. That SVG files are mostly images, so you could import an image into this program if you wanted. But it's not going to come up as much. STLs and OBJs are mostly what you're going to be working with in 3D files or format. But once we get our 3D object to a point we like, we would export it, and we can either save it as an STL or an OBJ if we wanted it. It makes no difference really. So yep, we got our thing. We have it in our file. And then you would be able to submit that to the ELA web page and have it submit it to the Forge in order to have them print it. Be aware certain parts of it, especially how I've had mine, is certain stuff that overhang a little too much might just be actually no, I guess not. If stuff overhangs too much, it can be a problem. So just be aware of how, if it would print, I'm going to give an example real quick. If we had this object and we had it go all the way out here, that would be 3D printing that out could be a problem, just because it's how it prints it out is that it builds it from the ground up is all. And if we get, so this overhang part would be the last part that get like halfway through it, it would get printed, but it would be kind of drooping down a bit too much. But that's something else entirely.
Do things print out all in one color?
No, this is you can actually change the color as well in this program as well. Like if we wanted this all to be painted, we can do that. These will not, this is just for like, so you can distinguish each shape is the idea.
But when it's sent to the library to be printed, is it going to come back in a solid color?
Yeah, so
okay,
we always use the filament. That is, you'll do whatever color, what solid color you want it to be. So if you want it to be red or blue, we can definitely do that. The 3D file is not, this is not reflective of the color that it's going to turn out, is all how you see it. If anything, it'll come to us as like colorless, if you want to think of it that way.
Right. So is it sent to the library in an email, or I'm not quite sure what happens when you export it?
So have you been to the website or the web page that we handle 3D submissions on?
No, what is that link?
Okay, so yeah, no,
Right.
that's perfectly fine. So you'll go to eapl.org/forge.
Okay.
And you'll come here. Hang on, I'm gonna. And you would scroll down here to request a 3D print.
Nice.
And you would fill out all of the information, your name, your library card, email, phone number, and the color that you want the 3D model to come out, how you want the finished product to look. Surprise me is always a fun one. We have some size parameters. Again, that's where you can use Tinkercad to get an idea of how big your object actually is or how small it will be. We always tend to kind of like make something as the biggest we can onto the printer, but sometimes that can be cost a little more because we do charge a fee for printing. It is 10 cents per gram. And you will go here, you will upload your file. So the one that we finished earlier, you would upload that. Oh wait, no, hang on. Okay, so real quick, another thing. We would need to get the actual 3D file out of this zip file. So sometimes when you do export your 3D file, 3D object that you've made, you'll need to go into it because it will zip the file. You'll just go in, find the actual 3D object file, the OB, in this case, this. You just have it in modes, and then we should be able to get it. Yep, so there it is. It's right there. And right here, you can also put in comments that you want, like email me an estimate before printing. If we run out of a certain color, that rarely ever happens, but you can do it for stuff. But the email estimate is probably the most common one we get. You can also ask us if we can make multiple of these. Like if you want 3 of these, we can definitely make that work. Just be aware of the size parameters that we have on our 3D printers.
Do you have anything like a small object that is already printed that you can hold up to the camera and tell us how much that might cost to get some kind of idea of what a gram would be?
I don't have anything at the moment because I'm not in Forge at the moment. But
okay.
The 10 cents. So it'll never break the bank is the idea. So
Don't worry about it.
We'll always give you an estimate for printing. So because we actually have to get the file so in this case, we would need to get the actual Tinkercad OBJ file or the 3D file that you've made. We need that so we can put it into our system so that we do an estimate on how long it'll take and then how much it'll estimately weigh.
Okay.
We'll never overcharge you or anything like that. Some things do get printed. You need to print them with supports, which are just like little stilts to keep it up if things are overhanging. We won't charge you for those. Those things are usually ripped off pretty easily, and then you'll have the actual model that you want.
Got it. Okay.
All right. Any other questions from anyone else in the chat?
Are you available if we want to do this at the library?
It depends. It depends if someone is in the Forge. Usually, There is someone, at least one person is in Forge. We try to have it at most times. You can definitely call ahead and schedule a reservation, an appointment with us. So I'm gonna go back and go, okay. So you can also make one-on-one appointments with us if you ever want some more in-depth one-on-one teaching. You just pretty much the same stuff as 3D modeling, except you just want to click on which one you want. Either this, in this case, the 3D printer, we would help you with that. And then you would just give us your availability. This helps us to help schedule you for a time that works for you and works for us, so that we're available to help you. And any other questions that you might have, or anything that you want to send us that we should know, or or that you want to have for the one-on-one appointment. Usually a design.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Good, thank you very much.
All right, great. Glad I could help you. Hope you all
Okay.
learned something. I'm sorry I did go a little bit fast, but again, this is being recorded. Hopefully this will be uploaded onto our YouTube, possibly, or we'll have it available so that you can look it over again. Or again, just doing a one-on-one appointment with us, so that way we can just better. Hope you all have a nice day, and I hope to see you at the Forge.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Oh.